Hello and welcome to this episode of Break Panel Sports. I'm John, joined alongside Joel. If you want Dairy Queen, we're not sponsored, but we have been talking about it. But first off, Joel, how are you? Before we talk about our DQ,
I am doing good, but just this I'm not gonna lie, this discussion that we had about Dairy Queen, it's like, dang, like the reason why we brought it up is because of today as we're filming this, the Arizona Coyotes have now officially gone to Salt Lake, Utah. They're
yeah,
going to Utah
it's
basically.
officially moving.
Salt Lake City.
That's going to happen. Yeah,
So we were like, huh. And we looked it up like, the name concepts, and one of them was the Blizzards
right.
or Blizzard. And I'm like, huh. And you mentioned that it would be a good sponsorship with, like, Dairy Queen. I'm like,
Easy
that would
sponsorship.
be that is an easy sponsorship. That would work out.
Yeah, I feel like it's the first thing that would happen. It's like
I don't
it's
know.
like Jack Golke and Tax and TurboTax. It's just the perfect fit. There's 27 Dairy Queens in Utah, so I don't know if they would really want to invest in that, but I'd give it a shot.
Does it snow over there? I
A
don't even
lot,
know.
yeah. It's right by the Rocky Mountains.
'Cause I never go over there. I've
I
never been
would
over there
hope you
really.
don't go over there super often. It's a long trip from
I've never
coast
been
to
there.
coast.
That's what I mean.
I've been to Colorado, which is right there.
Oh, yeah, that's true. That's true. No, yeah.
It snows a lot in Colorado. You actually have to buy so property values are very different based on which side of the street you're on, because whichever side gets the sun can kind of help the snow melt a lot more. If you get stuck on the other side, you really gotta take your get your shovels
Oh,
out. So those houses are cheaper on the other side, but you gotta really you're not paying a guy $20 to get that snow out. You are trudging. It's gonna cost
yeah,
a lot more money.
I couldn't live over there. I couldn't do it.
No. Well, I could live there in the summer, maybe.
Maybe. Yeah, yeah, you're right, yeah.
The spring, not in the winter. Winters are harsh over there. Winters are harsh everywhere except for like San Diego. But yeah, shout out to the Coyotes. Rest in peace to Arizona. The Coyotes, their broadcast crew did a tremendous job tributing. I forgot his name, but the main broadcaster for the Coyotes. If anybody knows his name, please let me know. I forget, I'm gonna find it on Twitter or remember it during the next 20 minutes. Great tribute, but yeah, rest in peace to the Coyotes. Hopefully they maybe get hockey in Arizona back one day. I saw they may do kind of a Cleveland Browns situation where you move this franchise to Utah, they become whatever,
Ugh.
and then you make a new Arizona Coyotes in like 5 years. I
The
saw
thing
that.
that the thing that kinda, like, made me a little frustrated was that I saw, like, their last game, right?
Yeah,
Like, the state like, it was basically kinda packed, like, a lot of Coyotes fans were
because they're
there.
still in the small. They were still in the small Arizona State Stadium.
Right, and when I was looking at them and I saw, like, people were crying or whatever,
Yeah,
a lot of people had the same reaction as me. I was like, "Where you been? Where you been
right,
all year?" This is the reason why they sold the team because nobody was watching them, nobody cared about the team, and they were terrible.
right.
And it's like, well, now everyone shows up,
A lot of it had to do with them
but
being terrible and ownership not really giving a crap about how the team performs and how the
yeah,
team sells tickets and all that. Because yeah, sure. I mean, you could say the same thing about the A's, right? Okay, why don't you sell out every game, right? But then I should get frustrated every time a team doesn't sell out every hockey game, every baseball game, right? So yes, the fans could have showed up more, been a bit more passionate, but they did what they had to do.
but yeah,
Um,
there's, no more no more parlays on the, Coyotes. You hear that, Jontay Porter? You
no
know,
more. Yeah,
no more
Jontay
betting.
Porter, no more betting. So for those of you that don't know, big topic coming out of the past week. Obviously, we got the playoffs coming up, and we're going to talk about that. That's the main reason this episode is being created, is because right now I think first playing game, the 8 seed game, is happening right now. The Bulls and the Heat, no Jimmy Butler tonight, and the Kings Pelicans, no Zion Williamson. So I'm assuming that we're going to get a double 9 seed win. But again, anything can happen. To be honest with you, I don't really care because I'm
Neither do
picking the
I.
Thunder. I'm picking the Celtics. We don't even know if we have to go over them. So at the end of the day, right, you have that situation. But here's the thing, Joel. I mean, it's a big topic because the Toronto Raptors, who are currently not in the playoffs, they have a big situation going on. They had it, and it's wrapped up. Jontay
Yep.
Porter has been banned for life from the National Basketball Association after being caught up in a gambling scandal on his own games, potentially on his own props. And on the Raptors, he bet the Raptors to lose, and there was a huge bet on his unders, and in a game that he left with an injury. So obviously, Jontay Porter is not LeBron James. He's not Shohei Ohtani. He's not Mike Trout. He's not Connor McDavid, but he's still a professional athlete in the NBA who just got caught gambling, or not himself, but giving out information to others. And this is not the first time this has happened in basketball, because we've had a situation with Temple where they had a gambling scandal, and I mean, Do you really think that there's been 0 mid-major, low division, Division II athletes that are sending text messages to their friends saying, "Hey, you should bet our over tonight. You should bet our under tonight. Hey, this guy's not gonna play. We're gonna lose tonight." That's happening. It's happening a lot more than you think. So Jontay
Yeah.
Porter right now is an example. They set him as an example. They say, "Hey, if you do X, Y, and Z, we are going to ban you for life." They banned Pete Rose for life. They banned a lot of people in the past for gambling. But Joel, from what you remember, and from what I remember hearing about, and when we were kids and when we were younger, a gambling scandal was few and far between. And when it happened, when it popped up, it was immediately shut down and ruined. Now, in the past couple years, with gambling being available at the tap of a phone button, we have had a gambling scandal in every single sport within the past 2 years. Some
Yeah.
sort of scandal, some sort of suspension. The Colts and Lions being joked about as the gambling franchises and having players suspended for half a season. Jameson Williams, a huge star rookie coming out of college, suspended for half a season because he's gambling. Isaiah Rodgers out because he's gambling. Calvin Ridley out for a year because he's gambling. So, Joel, my problem. So we're sitting here and we can sit here and say this, and we can sit here and make jokes about it. But I really am sitting here in front of all of you today, in front of you today, Joel, and I'm saying this is about 5% of what it's going to be within the next 5 years with athletes, with
Yeah.
journalists. This is not even close to the tip of the iceberg. People think Jontay Porter is the Titanic. We haven't even set sail yet. This is gonna get really bad, Joel. I just I have a lot to say about this, and I obviously want to have fun and do the talk about how the Celtics are going to win the championship. But obviously, this is probably the bigger topic outside of
Here's
the playoffs.
here's what I'll say, right? So either I think it was 2 days ago, I was driving in my car and I was listening to our ESPN New York, right?
Yeah,
On the radio. And they got a call from a man who was struggling with a gambling addiction. Okay. And he's recovered basically like he hasn't really gambled in like I want to say it was like 2 years, he said, or something like that. He hasn't gambled in like 2 years. So he was giving his opinions about Shohei Otani. He was giving his opinions about Jontay Porter. Like they were asking him very, good questions. They were
yep,
like like because he's experienced this. What is like the mind of a gambler? Like what do you think? What's he going through right now? All this stuff. And it was a good interview. I liked it. I was listening to it. Immediately after the caller hung up the phone, I don't remember who the host was, but he just goes, "This was brought to you by BetMGM Grand. Like,
yeah,
please bet responsibly." And I'm like, "Are you like we were just having a very good discussion about how, the effects of gambling and how we just had a caller on the air talk about how it basically ruined his life.
yep,
And he's trying to like bestow wisdom as to how Shohei Otani or his manager were like may have been dealing with this, right? How Jontay Porter may have been dealing with this, why they may have like, succumb to what they have become basically what has happened to them with like how gambling has taken over their lives, I want to say. And then we're going to promote a gambling app, and then we're going to promote FanDuel, then we're going to promote all this stuff, and it's like, oh, this is brought to you by FanDuel, please bet responsibly. And it's like, man, I just feel like they're encouraging it. I feel like they're really egging us on, especially athletes, where
yeah.
it's like, do you remember, have you ever seen Uncut Gems?
I have seen
Ever seen
Uncut
the movie?
Gems. Yeah, yeah.
So
Huge movie. I mean,
there was
awesome
a
movie.
very popular meme from that movie where Adam Sandler, he shows Kevin Garnett like a necklace that had all these diamonds on it and everything, and it looked nice. It looked crazy good. And then the meme was basically like, why would you show me something if I couldn't have it?
Yeah,
Like he basically wasn't allowed to sell it to him. I feel like that's what what ESPN is doing with these athletes. We're showing you all these betting apps. We're showing you everything. Like it's public knowledge. Everyone sees all these betting apps at the touch of your fingertips. Oh, but you're not allowed to play it.
right.
But it's easily downloadable on your phone. Like it's on everyone's app store. You could download it at the touch of your finger. But yeah, you're not allowed to bet. It's like you really expect us to not do it? What do you mean?
Right.
Like that doesn't make a lot of sense to me. I don't I understand they make a lot of money. Don't get me wrong. I understand ESPN makes a lot of money. I understand
That's the
athletes make a lot of money.
problem.
I understand that. But Yeah, I just view it as why are you get why are you like waving it around me knowing damn well I can't do it. You're egging me on. Jontay Porter, that's what happened to him, and he got cut. And yeah, like I totally agree with you as to I just think he's like the start, really. I don't think he's like, oh, the main do you know how many people I bet there's probably players on that team that are like trying to be more careful because they're probably doing something they probably shouldn't.
Yeah.
I guarantee it. Like guys, they gamble. It's what they do. It happens all the time.
When you had, one of in basketball, one of the greatest players of all time, I personally think he's the greatest player of all time, Michael Jordan, known for
Has a
being a
gambling
gambling
problem.
addict, had a huge gambling addiction. Everybody did. And my thing is, so I kind of, I like what you said about the sports networks, right? With ESPN and everything. Now that Disney is involved with betting, obviously ESPN Bet just came out a little while back.
Disney
ESPN,
Disney bet now.
Disney Bet, basically. ESPN Bet is Disney Bet. Don't get it confused. It's Disney Bet. It's not ESPN Bet. I'm not even kidding with you. It's Disney Bet, because when Congress comes out and says we don't want this to happen anymore, we don't want 15-year-olds being exposed to
Mm,
gambling. You know whose money is going to say no? We need these advertisements. Not ESPN. It's Disney, who has billions of dollars and probably the most influence out of the top 25 companies in the world. So that's the problem. And you look at all these athletes, and yes, they gamble. Whether they gamble on
it's gonna
cards and
happen.
spades or their own games, they gamble on something. So my problem, right? You mentioned that radio show, and there's all this money tied up. So you have ESPN will have not just they won't just mention gambling. Joel, 3 years ago it was taboo to mention gambling on the air. Now we have whole blocks of shows. Now we have hired people. We have Joel. We have hired sports reporters. People are employed for the sole purpose of reporting on gambling and telling me what odds to pick at
Yeah,
random.
I've seen
Every
some of their shows. It's
every
okay.
network has a gambling rep, has a
Yeah,
gambling reporter, and I'm not going to name them. Look at the UFL. The storyline isn't how this football game is going. It's, oh man, the over might hit. They have the over listed right there, and then they go to the sideline, and this guy that kind of looks like me with a beard goes out and says, "Yeah, I think I have the over." Are we serious?
I
What is
saw
it about sports anymore?
in yesterday's game, the Sixers and Heat, when Tyler Hero hit that late three,
Yeah,
there was a post that basically said like, "Oh, Tyler Hero," like it showed like all these flames and everything. I'm thinking like, "Oh, what? Like they didn't win the game. I don't understand what they're
right.
talking about." And they're like, "Tyler Hero covered the spread."
Yeah,
I'm like, "What? Like, did we? There's no way you made all that hype because he covered the
right.
spread. That's crazy."
But all these sports books are in these companies' pockets and all that, and you can just say, "Oh, hit some regulation." I can't tell. There's no legal regulation that allows me to tell Bleacher Report to shut down its betting advertisements. So,
Mm.
and my main point about this is, sure, me and you we're above the age of 21. We can legally gamble on
I
just about
dabble in the
anything.
gambling game a little bit
I,
here
I
and
I
there.
would I would be lying to you if I said I haven't placed a bet every now and then, every on some occasions, right? But my main issue is that let's take ESPN. Let's take other networks that I personally cannot talk about, right? So let's take ESPN. They will have a show. They'll make a show that's trendy. That's probably targeted towards mid-teens, right? 15, 16, 17, 14. They'll have the gambling rep on that show.
Yeah,
They'll say it's a new Gen Z show. They'll have the gambling rep talk about the overs. They'll have blocks of the show dedicated to gambling. But Joel, the show's target audience is not you and I. It's eighth graders. It's high
yeah.
schoolers that are on prize picks gambling. So at what point do I look do I really just like there's no stop to it. I can't sit there. There's nothing we can do to stop it. But what I'm telling you is we talk about how the younger generation is going to have this crazy attention span issue like we don't have it already. No, they're going to have a crazy gambling problem. All of them. Because Joel, when we were watching sports as young children, I was watching NFL films. That's what was on NFL Network when I was getting into football. Now those same blocks are taken up by whatever gambling show a lot of the time, or there'll be commercials about
Yeah.
FanDuel. I didn't see a lick. I didn't even know you could. Well, before you couldn't sports gamble unless if I flew to Las Vegas and placed a bet at a sports book. And then it went to Atlantic City. Everybody's like, "Whoa, it's going somewhere." And then in a few years, it's on my phone. It's on everybody's phone. It's on everybody's.
Yeah.
You're not cool if you don't have a bet on the game anymore. So the
Yeah.
15-year-olds
That's
that were brought
crazy,
up
huh?
on that content that we watch just sports. Those imagine being 14, 15, 16, 17, all the way led up until you're 21 years old when you can finally bet. You've been exposed to betting content for the past decade. For the past decade. It's disgusting. It's gross, but it's not going to stop. So
No, it's not.
we're going to pay the consequences before realizing that we have to put a stop to it. It's going to be bad. But Joel, if this podcast ever blew up, I will never accept a gambling sponsorship. So sorry about your bank account, but
I think the day that it actually happens, we might be thinking a little differently.
I will not. Personally, I couldn't do it. You can accept whatever you want. I'm very serious about that. I would
Just
not
be
accept it.
like ESPN bet.
ESPN bet. I would never accept it. I would never accept it. I could not promote it. Give me Manscaped. How about Manscaped? Does Gillette have anybody?
Dude wipes.
Dude Wipes. Shout out to Dude Wipes, man. Former NYCFC sponsor. Shout out to them. But yeah, so that's our rant about gambling in the NBA. Joel, do you know what's the who is the best odds to win the championship? No.
I was
So
gonna give it to you. I think I know
it's
it.
the Celtics. The Celtics are the best
Yeah.
odds. The Celtics are really the king. I'm gonna make a bracket here. I think I can pick, right? We can pick teams to win in however many games. So let's do it.
Alrighty.
So Joel, now
The
that our
smoothest transition ever. Let's go.
so smooth, so fresh, and so clean. I hope you paid attention. And if an ESPN executive listened, I'm sorry, not really. So Joel, we're gonna start. You want to start with the West and go conference by conference? How about that? Or do you want
Let's
to
go.
go?
Let's go west.
You want
I'm
to go
okay
round
starting.
by round, or do you want to go conference by conference? So we'll do
We
the
could
West
go.
and then we'll do the East.
Let's do west and then do east.
West and then do East. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
All right, Joel, we got a big matchup here: the Thunder versus probably the Pelicans. How about 4 for the Thunder?
Yeah. Honestly, I'm
No
gonna be
Zion,
so.
maybe, or if they play the Kings, whatever. I mean, the Kings are not a bad team,
Kings, I don't think
obviously.
are bad. Like I think people were really expecting that the loss of Malik Monk and Kevin Huerter was gonna
Yeah,
like really affect them. They looked great against the Warriors, and I understand the
yeah,
Warriors are like their own little problem, but still, they looked good. They played great basketball.
yeah.
So I think whether they are facing the Kings, I would say if they're facing the Kings, I think the Thunder beats them in like 6 games. No,
Let's go.
5.
I'll go 5. I actually switched it to Thunder and 5 because I think without Zion, the Pelicans have no shot.
Pelicans, if they face the Pelicans are getting swept.
Yeah,
I
and we're
think they're
gonna
getting
fight.
swept.
By the time you listen to this, you'll know the matchup. I don't know the
Yeah.
matchup because the games are going on right now. Um,
But regardless, it seems like we would take OKC next round anyway. So like,
yeah, we're taking the Thunder. We're taking the Thunder. Um, yeah. So then let's go to the 4-5. Let's go to the 4-5. Let's go to the 4-5. We're just going down the bracket.
yeah,
This is my favorite series of the entire opening round.
Clippers Dallas. This is awesome. We already know. We already know that we're gonna be going out to our local sports bar for this
Oh
game
yeah,
for one of these games. We already know.
whichever one we can, because we do know a Mavericks fan. I know a Clippers fan. So
These are good games.
it's
Clippers, Mavericks.
yeah,
These matchups have been happening for the past few years now
yep.
with Luca, Paul George, Kawhi. These are great matchups. These are great basketball matchups.
I consider this a rivalry at this
I
point,
consider a rivalry too.
especially after the bubble where Luca hit that step back shot in the
Come
bubble.
on now, what?
Let's go. This is gonna be
I
awesome. I think. I mean, I love the Mavericks this year, but I also love the Clippers this year. Part of me hates that this is a first round matchup because I think that this could easily have been a conference finals.
I
Um,
can honestly, I'm gonna be very lenient here. I could see either team winning this series.
True, I
Okay,
could too. I very well
I
could.
think this is a series that can go to 7 games,
Yeah.
100%.
No, I think it will go to 7 games. It has to.
I'm probably gonna lean more towards Dallas here
I also was gonna think because Kyrie is playing out of his mind.
because
Um,
that was my
yeah,
difference maker here. Is like Luca's gonna be Luca. We know what
right.
Luca brings. If Kyrie is gonna be prime Kyrie in this matchup, I don't see how Dallas loses.
Are you
I
worried
really
about
don't.
Dallas's depth at forward? Right, because I mean, obviously Derrick Jones
Not
Jr. hasn't
really.
been playing that
See,
bad, but
well, here's the
they
thing
kind
too.
of lose it down the stretch.
I like the trades that they did for PJ Washington,
I love it.
Daniel
And Gafford.
Gafford, you know, Lively from Duke. That guy is great.
Yeah.
He's a great center for them. I think he's gonna be great for them. I could see them winning this matchup. I really do.
They got it done.
And yeah, honestly, like the way I'm looking at Dallas right now, I think this is the most ready that they have been since being in this Luca era.
Oh yeah, they got the most
So
depth.
yeah, I would take Dallas over in this series.
They got the most talent around Luka that they've had. Obviously, the one they had Porzingis, he wasn't playing as well. Kyrie and Luka are
Uh,
finally working. We're gonna go Dallas in 7. I think that that's fair. Next up, we got the T Wolves and the Suns. Karl Anthony Towns has been back actually.
this
The
this is a
Suns
rough matchup for me. This is
the
rough.
Suns snuck into the postseason. They snuck into the playoffs, not the plan. They were kind of on that line. Played all right down the stretch. Obviously, you look at Kevin Durant, Devin Booker, and crew, Bradley Beal. This is a team that on paper should be like a 2 or 3 seed. They do not play together well. There's only
Mhm.
one ball, and it hasn't really worked out as well. Defensively, they struggled, and they just signed Grayson Allen for $70 million. So I really don't know where to go here. The Timberwolves, before the cat injury, were a top team in the West. Who knows how well he's going to play when you look at Karl Anthony Towns? Obviously, Nas Reed is Nas Reed towels, all that stuff. Joel, I'm leaning towards Minnesota.
I was also gonna say Minnesota.
I mean, obviously,
I
Anthony
think
Edwards is playing really well, but yeah, I'm leaning towards Minnesota here.
the way I look at this matchup, like honestly, what was the problem going into Phoenix into this year? What was the problem? They got no depth. You
None.
got, you know, you got your big three, right? Outside of that, everyone is like vet minimum guys and
Yeah.
Grayson Allen, I guess. But
And
like
Nurkic, who can't defend the rim.
Nurkic, yeah,
Carl
he's
Anthony
another.
Towns is going to just devour.
Rudy Gobert, and Cat are gonna
Yeah.
have a field day on Nurkic. So that's why
Yeah.
I'm like, I don't see how Phoenix is gonna do well. And also, when we mentioned like this rotation of Beal, Booker, and Durant, they can't all be on the court for
Right.
majority of the game at the same time. It's just not gonna happen.
Beal should accept that 6-man role a lot more.
So I would 100% do that if I
Yeah.
was like, listen, man, you fell off. Let's
Yeah.
admit it. You fell
That's
off.
fine. There's been a lot of great 6-man.
You
Manu Ginobili was a 6-man.
just admit it. Come on, man. Just admit it. Like at this point
Yeah.
in your career, I would just embrace the new role. And I just and it's funny because like this is supposed to be like their all in year.
Yeah. This is
I just
they are
don't
all in.
and I just don't view it like that at all. I really
Yeah.
don't.
No, they're all
So
in.
I think Minnesota takes this series in like 6. I don't think they're gonna get like
Not in
swept or in
6.
5 games or whatever,
No.
but I say Minnesota in 6 here.
Because Kevin Durant's gonna have one of those big games. He's gonna find a way to will this team to at least one victory.
Uh,
I had them in 6 as well. So glad we can agree. Nikola Jokic invited his teammates over for drinks and festivities to watch the play-in game the other night, and they're playing the Lakers again. This time in the first round, Denver against Los Angeles and the Lakers. LeBron James back in the playoffs. Anthony Davis playing really well this year, staying healthy and all that. Austin Reeves is Austin Reeves, and kind of stops there. Joel, what do you think about this series? I'm going to kind of
I,
let you take the reins on here.
I was gonna say, do you want me to say it or should do you want to say it or should I? Because
You got to say it. I'll let you say it.
this is a sweep.
Sweep.
This is a sweep. Denver's gonna
Nuggets in
kill the
4.
Lakers.
You don't
I
want to give them 5. You don't want to give LeBron a game.
No, no, I think they're gonna get killed here.
Yeah.
I don't think this team is nearly as good as it was last year when they got swept. I
No.
don't think it's as good.
No.
So
Neither
and
is
Denver,
LeBron.
like, and what did Denver lose? They lost Bruce Brown,
That's
and
it.
it didn't really make that much of a difference. They were still like
Nope.
one of the number one teams all year, until the end. But
Yep.
I don't see how they even get a game off of Denver.
Not a game. Not
So
one game. Not one game. It's
I
over.
say they sweep them here.
Sweep for the Denver Nuggets. They get out of Ball Arena pretty easily. All right, let's go back to the top of the West. We're going to do the West and then the East. So we got Thunder Mavericks in the second round.
This is a
Um,
cool matchup.
Technically an upset with the 5 seed moving on. The 1 seeded Thunder, Shea, Chet, Jalen Williams squared, the whole crew, Lujan's Dort, trying to lock up Luca. Shea Gilgis Alexander, Luka Doncic, 2 guys that could win the MVP. Obviously, Jokic. It's also interesting how the 3 MVP candidates are in the West.
Right?
The West is loaded yet again.
They're always loaded.
And again, these are 2 teams that I can see making it to the conference finals, and obviously this will be a conference finals matchup. Joel, I sit here and I lean Thunder, obviously because of home court, and I think it's going to be a tough guard with Shea. Luka Doncic probably going to have to take a lot of that matchup. Kyrie Irving not really going to be able to hold Shea if that's the matchup either. I think he's going to have a huge series and send this team to the conference finals. I love how deep this team is. I've got the Thunder in probably 6 games. I don't know what you think. I don't know if you agree, disagree. What are
This
your
is
thoughts on this
this
series?
is our first disagreement.
You think the Mavericks take
I
this one?
I th I think the Mavericks can take this series here only because, to me, it comes down to playoff experience. That's what I'm looking at
That's a
here.
good point.
Now, I'm not saying that all of Dallas, because I understand a lot of these guys are fairly young and don't have much experience, but when I look at OKC,
Yeah,
especially this being, like, their first real year together, all these guys,
yeah,
I look at them and it's like, "Yeah, you're good," but I feel like if it wasn't for, like, 1 or 2 games, you guys would have been the 3rd seed.
right.
You know what I mean? So it's like, I don't know, man, when it comes to the playoff experience, I can see Luka just taking over this series, and I've seen SGA have bad games. I've never seen Luka have a bad game.
Luka
I've
Doncic
never
is
seen
going to play very well.
I've ne I've never seen it happen. So that's why I look at this series and I think no sweep or anything like that. I'm not trying to be disrespectful, but I think Dallas can take this series in 6. It might be another 7-game series.
I had
Might
Thunder in
be.
6,
Yeah, so
so it could be
how
either
about
or, right?
I'll put in for me Dallas in 6, but you put in OKC in 6, or if you wanna go that route.
You know what? Just for the sake of us making a bracket, I'm going to put Mavericks in 7 because I'm a nice guy.
Go ahead. Go ahead, go ahead.
How
Alright.
about that?
Alright, we'll do that.
I just don't know how they're going to guard Dallas. I just don't know how they're going to guard Dallas. That's my main issue.
Yeah,
Is how or how is Dallas going to guard OKC? You're probably this probably
yeah.
both ways too. But I think it's more so a problem when it comes to Dallas as a defensive depth. Minnesota and Denver, right? This is going to be the toughest center duel. Again,
Yeah.
depends on Cat's health, how well he's going to play, how much he's going to play, wherever he's at. But
I I wouldn't be surprised if Minnesota won this series.
I
I
was
really
thinking that
would.
as well. I think I don't see Denver going back to back. I never did. Obviously, you bring back a lot of that team, but it was strange to me. A lot of people kind of just viewed Denver as this super team that was just going to steamroll. They said, "Oh yeah, Denver. Just pick Denver." Reigning champions, obviously reigning champions, but I mean, the thing is though, you could use the same argument with Minnesota. Playoff
Right.
experience matters. Not a ton of it on this Minnesota team. So you know your logic should probably pick Denver here, but
The
it's a
reason
tough
why
matchup
the
for Denver.
the reason why I say I wouldn't be surprised if Minnesota won this matchup only because I feel like you're gonna be it c you notice in the playoffs, it comes to a point where you're reliant on your best player,
Yeah,
that being Jokic, right? If Jokic is the one who you gotta be dependent on, and you gotta face a guy who's potentially, I'm not throwing anything out there, but potentially may win defensive player of the year and Rudy Gobert,
yeah,
and you're getting Karl Anthony Towns back. Oh yeah, and also you gotta do it Anthony Edwards. I don't know how this is gonna go, you know? So
right.
that's why I look at this matchup and I say, like, if I look at all of these guys on paper, like I would take Anthony Edwards over some of these guys. I would take Karl Anthony Towns over these guys. I would take Rudy Gobert defensively over these guys.
Yeah,
That's why I look at Minnesota. I say I think they're playing good basketball. However, M- Denver being the former champions, also being a top seed, coming off a sweep,
yeah, they'll be
I
rested.
I think they're going to be fine for this matchup. So I would take Denver winning this series in probably 6 games.
Give me a
I don't think
7.
it's. You think 7?
I always want more nuggets. Give me a 7-piece nugget here.
I'll give you a 7.
Let's take a 7-piece nugget. We have reached the Western Conference Finals. The Dallas Mavericks and the Denver Nuggets. It actually sounds pretty good to me.
This sounds
Really
like a
good
great
series.
matchup.
You've got really the Euro matchup. You got Luka, Slovenia, Nikola Jokic, Serbia. Which Western European country / Eastern European country will win here in this matchup? Um, yeah, you've
I could take
got
either. I could
I
take
could
either
take
of them.
either here, right? They're very similar teams, right? You have that big point guard center matchup. You got Jamal Murray and Jokic, and then you got Luca and Kyrie. And well, I'm thinking of the wrong team. I was thinking of
I
Thunder.
just
I was
think.
thinking of the Thunder right there. That was a
Oh, you
rough
were thinking
point
of
by
Thunder.
me. In my head, I said Shea and Chet. But I because I picked the Thunder, but we picked the Mavericks. So no, it's not a similar matchup at all,
I
actually.
mean, if you want to explore OKC and Denver,
Nah, because we
could
picked
do.
Dallas. We picked
Yeah, we
Dallas.
picked. All right.
So I can't go back on my word. I said it was a nice guy. I would have Denver winning this series personally. Obviously, I had OKC beating Dallas, so it doesn't surprise you probably.
No,
Um,
it really doesn't. Like honestly, like I look at. Me personally, I think Dallas is due. That's the way I look at it.
They're
I look
due,
at
but I mean, I feel like Western Conference Finals is enough due.
yeah, I honestly think this would be good enough for this team. I feel like next year, if you let some of these younger guys like Derek Lively, Jaden Hardy, you let some of
Yeah,
these guys develop a little more, I think a finals appearance is in their range.
it's possible.
I don't think it's this year, man.
It doesn't feel like it.
I just think Denver's too good of a team, and majority of the roster stayed the same.
Yeah,
It just
they're
so
they're they're together. They're ready to go.
yeah, I say
I don't think it'll
Denver
be
wins
easy.
this series. I say Denver wins this series, and honestly, at this point, with all the game sevens that they've had, I think Dallas at some point is gonna get tired. I really think they're gonna get tired. I
Denver in
don't see
5.
that's not crazy to say.
The Mavericks would have played 14 games up to this point. The Nuggets, well, we had the Nuggets in 7. They would have played 11. So you've had 3 less games. Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if you saw a 5-game series for the Denver Nuggets. Not good
I
for whoever wins the East because they'll be rested as well.
yeah.
Be tough, less beaten, less battered. So we've got the Denver Nuggets going to the finals. How much of a shocker is that? If you were looking
It
for something different and
yeah.
funky and fresh and fun, we didn't give it to you with the fun. We gave it to you with Dallas, but I actually don't. I don't hate this. I don't mind any of this. I think that this is very possible. I like Thunder Nuggets. I like the 1-2. I like the 1-2 matchup for the conference finals this year. But we've got the Dallas Mavericks. Obviously, our history with brackets is not good. If we look back at our
That
March
yeah,
Madness bracket,
that was pretty bad. This
um,
this is easier, I think. I think this is a little
it's
easier.
so much easier. It's so much easier.
It's a
Well, we
little
would we
easier.
would hope, right? The Suns could upset the T Wolves, and the Thunder could win. We could
Yeah,
be
why
cooked.
the Minnesota Timberwolves make it to the conference finals. Like,
We could be cooked. Yeah, maybe. Who knows?
happen.
Joel. But that's the West. We got the Nuggets. Let's get to the East. Joel, let's take a look at the Eastern Conference. The Boston Celtics versus whoever wins the 8 matchup. I'm not talking about this too much. I'm a Celtics fan. I'm biased, and I think the Celtics are winning every game.
Yeah. I mean, here's what I will say, okay? I feel like because the Bulls have been like they played a very good game, right?
Yeah,
I'm not saying they're gonna
against a team 10 games under 500.
I will say it could be 5.
Okay. Oh,
Oh, I'm saying
whoa!
it could be 5. I'm
Cinco
not
de
saying
Mayo.
I'm not saying they're gonna lose a series. Relax. I'm not saying they're gonna lose a series. I'm just saying
5.
I wouldn't be surprised if they got one on the Celtics. I wouldn't be
Five.
if they just got one.
Demar always has a good game. Demar always has a good game.
I would say it's probably gonna be. But if they're facing the Miami Heat, listen, with the MCL injury with Jimmy Butler, it would
No
be a
Jimmy.
sweep. It's gonna be a sweep. Okay,
No James
I'm
Butler.
I'm not gonna debate that. Like you know this. It's gonna be a sweep.
Yeah,
Bulls, I think it could be 5. I think it could be 5 games. But regardless,
sure.
Celtics are winning the series. We know this.
Sure. Let's go Celtics. You know what? I'll put it as 5 just to appease you in my bracket. How about
I
that?
think it might be 5. Just thinking.
Okay. Okay. Now we have the lose to the Celtics sweepstakes and the Cavs Magic matchup. I like both of these teams in 2 years. I think
Yeah.
it's I honestly it's going to be a great playoff series. I think this one
I,
goes 6 or
I'm not
7.
sure if you've been like paying attention to like Twitter handles and stuff, but this has been ranked as like one of the worst matchups like of this playoff series, which
See,
it's
they're
like
wrong. I
yeah, it's
like it
just
as an individual playoff matchup. I like it because the
I
two
like
young
it.
teams. I mean, obviously you have Donovan Mitchell, who's halfway out the door, but when you take the young talent, I actually do. I actually really like this matchup. I don't think it's going to matter because
No,
again, it's the lose to the Celtics. The Celtics have a cakewalk to the conference finals, but I think it's going to be some good basketball. I'm just saying. I like the young
who you
stars.
got? Who do you got?
That's the problem. I don't. You know what? We were really high on the Orlando Magic. I think the thing is though, to me a bit ahead of schedule. And obviously we talk about
Yeah,
playoff experience with Cleveland. It to me it depends on how bought in Donovan Mitchell is going to be. Is he going to be halfway out the door, or is he locked in on winning this playoff series? If
you
Donovan
know
Mitchell is
what
Donovan Mitchell, they win this in 6.
this Magic team they remind me now. Maybe it's because I'm a Knicks fan. I'm using the
Right.
Knicks
No,
analogy
I agree.
here.
I know where you're
They
going. I agree with you.
they remind me of the 2020 Knicks.
Yeah,
They remind me of they exceeded expectations. No, everyone
way ahead
thought
of
they'd
schedule.
be good. They'd be okay. No one thought
Yeah,
they were gonna make it to like the 4 or 5 seed in the playoffs.
yeah.
Nobody thought that at all. I'm thinking right now, listen, the Magic have the least amount of pressure on them of all the teams here in the playoffs.
How
You had a
so?
good year. You had a good year. Okay. Let's step aside. It's Cleveland's time. I think Cleveland's gonna win this series. I think they could win it in 6. I think they could even win it in 5.
5. Let's
Cleveland.
see. Let's go Cleveland in 6. How about that? How about Cleveland in 6? I'm fine with that. I think the Magic are going to be a good team for the next decade. They've got a really good squad. Um, now, Joel,
Yes.
this feels like the bracket where we were picking 12-5 upsets.
Yeah.
And there was a really popular one like New Mexico that everybody picked.
Yeah.
I feel like so many people are picking the Pacers. Obviously,
I
Tyrese on Dame is a tough matchup.
maybe
Giannis
it's
is still
just
Giannis, but you got Pascal and MT.
maybe it's just me, but I'm one of them.
I know you are. And you know
The
what
reason
the thing is? So am I.
I'm not gonna lie to you. I was gonna fully take the Bucks in the
Yeah.
playoffs until this man Giannis got hurt.
Yeah.
I look at him missing a few games and I'm like, man, just I don't know about this, man. And another thing is like that sucks is that you traded for Damian Lillard to go out and and win a title,
Yeah.
and you may be a first round exit.
And it looks like they're gonna be out.
And I think they're
Uh,
gonna be. I think they're gonna be a first round exit.
yeah, Giannis is gonna be out. There's I saw some reports maybe another 2 weeks. So the thing for the Pacers, you have to win this series. You have no choice. Because if you can't capitalize without on a team with no depth and no Giannis, you have to win this series. And the Pacers will be advancing to the Eastern Conference semifinals, I think, pretty easily.
How many
Um,
games you got?
I got them in 6, but
Yeah,
my brain wants to go 5 because if there's no Giannis for up until that point, the thing is, my problem is I don't really see how the Bucks win without Giannis. That's obviously you have Damian Lillard, but there's no depth. It's
yeah.
such a Giannis dependent team.
And Middleton's really like fallen off a cliff. And
If yeah,
Brook,
if I woke up on whatever day it is and I saw Pacers in 4, I wouldn't be sitting there going, "Whoa," especially if there's no Giannis. I wouldn't be that surprised. I'm gonna give you 6 games because you're Milwaukee and you have championship experience and you got a lot of guys who won it. And Tyrese Halliburton has not been playing well, or as well as he did earlier in the year. So it's gonna be tough, but I think the Pacers win in 6. Let's give them 6, but I'm gonna be bold and say I wouldn't be surprised if it ends a lot quicker than you think. That's just me though.
yeah, I agree. I
Yeah.
fully agree.
All right. Knicks Sixers. We know who you're picking.
Philly, nah.
Philly. So
Here's
Philly, yeah, Philly sneaks in.
let me just like guide you through like my thoughts of yesterday's game. Okay.
Right. Is this the last team you wanted to see?
No,
Okay.
no, actually. Here's the thing.
All right, let's go.
When the Knicks were facing off against the Chicago Bulls, a few days ago, right? I knew if they lose this game, they would face the Pacers.
Yeah.
If they win this game, they got to face either Philly or Miami. Now, obviously, this was before Jimmy Butler got hurt. And I was just like, I do not want to face Jimmy Butler in the first round. I
Yeah.
don't want to face him in the first round because I think they're going to lose. I really do think they're going to lose if they face Jimmy. Now that it's Philly, I'm content with this.
Okay.
Only because I don't think Joel Embiid is all that healthy still. I think he's been playing okay, but I still think there's like, he ain't the MVP level Joel Embiid that I've been seeing that I've seen,
No.
I don't think he's like that right now.
There's a nagging
And
injury there.
Batum, look, okay, that was a once in a lifetime game for him.
Ooh,
Like
talk about him. Why is
Batum
Batum in?
in.
That's why. Why is Batum in?
Batum
That's
in.
why. Batum is in. He's in the fourth
But
quarter.
Batum in. That was
I'm
a
gonna be
very
yelling in the fourth quarter. Why not? Why is Batum not in?
that was a very interesting game, to say the least.
Right.
But
That's why the play-in exists. That game.
honestly, plans have been great these past couple years. I ain't gonna lie.
Besides Atlanta.
Yeah, that's a whole
That's the
nother
problem.
story.
The play-in is really cool when you have the West, right? Because we
Yeah,
have Sacramento fighting for their playoff, and Sacramento, in a weird world, could win that first round series against OKC, right? They have the talent to do it. They were what a 3 seed last year, and they again
uh
obviously a lot of guys are hurt, but Keon Ellis looks pretty good. So that's why you have it. But I don't really want to watch Atlanta.
yeah.
That Atlanta
That
team.
that's a whole nother story. They've fallen off a cliff right
Yeah,
now.
they're a
But
problem. But I mean, Chicago's cool, I guess, and the 1-8 matchup isn't usually anything, and you're always going to have stinkers in the 8 seed anyway, so might as well make it a little bit more entertaining. I'm going to pick the Knicks here in 6.
I'm gonna I also taken the Knicks here in 6. I
I'm
think
fine with that.
like I'm being like being so respectful here to the Sixers, I do think they're gonna
Yeah,
win like a game or two. I think
yeah.
they will.
Oh
But
no, they will. They will.
the Knicks were the 2 seed for a reason here.
Yeah.
Okay. They have incredible depth. I think out of all of these teams in the playoffs, the Knicks have the best depth. I think their depth is amazing. There are guys coming off the bench for them that could start on any other team.
This is
That
very true. This is very true.
that's
Yep.
why I think the Knicks are gonna make it. They're gonna have a good run. I think they're
Good
gonna have a
run.
really good run
Good
here.
run. I see how this is shaping up. We're gonna have a duel here,
Yeah.
probably of Celtics next year. It's gonna get ugly.
Well, let's just keep it going. Let's just keep it
Well,
going.
the
You know.
Cavs are not losing, are not beating the
Yeah, they're
Celtics.
not losing. Yes, come on.
I don't even want to talk about that.
So Boston and what? What do you want
I,
to say? 5?
yeah, 5. The Pacers are beating the Knicks. How about that? No. Obviously, really great matchup. Really
I gave
great
you a look
rivalry.
right there. I'm like,
I saw, yeah, really great matchup. Really great rivalry. But I think the Pacers will get. I think they'll bring you to 6.
I
If
I was gonna say
because
like I wouldn't be.
Tyrese elevates his game. Tyrese Halliburton elevates his game in big moments, and I think that the more likely scenario is the Pacers beating the Knicks than the Cavs beating the Celtics, in my opinion. That's just the way I view it. The Pacers are not a 6 seed to me. Therefore, they're better than the 4 seed, and they're going to beat the 3 seed. So
I do think the Knicks win here in 6 though, only
I have them
because
in 6.
like first of all, these matchups have happened before with the
Yeah,
Pacers, okay? And the Knicks win a lot of the time. And the thing is, when the Knicks do win, it's usually when they're not even fully healthy.
yeah,
I forgot which game it was, but the Knicks like just lost to the Pacers. Like it was a very close game all the way to the end, and they were missing Randall,
right.
they were missing OG, they're missing Mitchell Robinson, missing all these guys, and I'm like, dang, if we were healthy, we would have killed this team. Like everybody was playing for them.
Yeah,
So that's why I look at the Knicks and I just say, like, listen, I think they're gonna make a run. And here's probably where an argument's gonna start here. Okay.
yeah. I do have a question for you, Joel.
Go ahead,
Before
go ahead, go ahead.
so we're obviously we have Celtics Knicks. That's our discussion.
Okay.
Um, me personally, I think the Knicks are better without Julius Randle. That's my personal opinion. I don't think he's a good teammate. He's a
I
good
okay.
player, but I think the Knicks play better together without Julius Randle, without having a 6'9" power forward play iso ball and everyone just stands around. That's my opinion.
I think I think Julius Randle is a talented basketball player
Yes,
that's in the wrong role.
I
That's
agree.
what I think.
I agree.
Because he actually it's funny. I literally not even joking, like maybe like an hour before we started this, I had a conversation with my dad where
Yeah,
like we were just saying, we're like, man, the Knicks need a guy where like man, like, I don't even know how to explain it. They just need like a tough guy out there. They
yeah.
just need a guy like an enforcer. They need someone that's just got muscle and can just get personal fouls and just like someone starts a fight,
Right, a
this guy
bruiser.
shows up. I'm like, man, that was Julius Randle.
Yeah,
I'm like,
maybe you'll trade for
was that
Draymond.
was that not Julius Randle? I'm like, that was
Right.
Julius. And I'm
That
like, oh,
was
we're not gonna have
Lakers
him now.
Julius Randle. That was Pelicans Julius Randle. But all of a sudden, he shifted to become kind of ball dominant. That's not his game. I mean, he
This is
can
not his game.
score, but he can
I think
score. He can play well
I think
in bad
Julius
games.
Randle is a fantastic 2. I think he's a good 2 option. I think he's a great 3 option.
Yeah,
2,
he's
he's
good for your 3.
but number 1 option, I think we've seen the peak of what a 1 with
Yeah,
Julius Randle is. Now, you're not gonna have him,
right.
okay?
You're not gonna have him.
And I'm gonna be fair. I'm gonna
And
be
the
fair
Celtics
just because
2,
like
and the Celtics 4 is your 2.
I'm gonna be fair here, okay?
Yeah.
Non-bias. I do think the Celtics are gonna win this series. Come on. I
Come
do
on,
think
Joel, get angry, get feisty,
no, 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 no. Here's the
argue
thing.
with
Here's the
me,
thing. Okay? I
make
would
me angry.
well, it's not gonna be an easy series for you. You know that. Come on.
Obviously, it's the
It's
conference
not a
finals.
it's not gonna be an easy series. And the thing is, these Celtics Knicks matchups over the past few years have been very like great
Awesome,
games. They're great
awesome.
games. And the Knicks win a lot. I'm just kidding.
I mean, yeah,
But
the
here's the thing. It's a different team. It's a different team.
very different
Okay.
team. Obviously, we think
Because,
of the RJ Barrett buzzer beater in Madison Square
E-
Garden.
Evan Fournier, the Celtics killer is not on our
Yeah,
team anymore. Okay.
he's
Like he's not,
gone.
he's gone.
Former Celtic Evan Fournier. I don't
Julius
miss that era.
Randle's not there no more.
Yeah,
So that's why I'm not used to seeing OG play with the Celtics. I'm not used to seeing, what a Mitchell Robinson, a Hartenstein duo, what they can do against, Kristaps Porzingis. I don't know what
yeah.
they could do. So and Tatum, like, is OG gonna be able to handle him? I hope so.
I think so.
I
He's a
think
great
he will.
defender. Is JB gonna have a left hand? I don't know.
Jalen Brunson, I would love for him to, I would love for him to be Jalen Brunson
Yeah.
after both these series is, you know, are we gonna be running on fumes at this point? We've never been this far. I don't
And
know.
you have to do all that and be guarded by Drew Holiday for 6 or 7 games or 5 games or whatever.
But the thing is, what I'm trying to say is the Knicks have not been this far. The
Right.
Celtics have been this far.
Time and
Not
time
only have
again.
the not only have the Celtics have been here, they succeeded with majority of the guys that they still have on their roster.
Yeah.
So
And added 2 stars.
I I think the Celtics are set to win this matchup. I don't think it's gonna be 5 games.
No.
I don't think it's gonna be four. I think you would have to do some convincing for me to say 6 games. I think this may go to 7.
I like 7. I'm gonna give you 7. 7 in the Boston Garden.
And I think
End it out
Boston
there.
ends yeah, and that's the thing. If it's a game 7 at Boston,
Yeah.
I find that to be an incredibly hard game for the Knicks to win.
Are your Knicks a road warrior kind of team? I feel like they play really well at MSG.
Actually, that's a great question. I don't know what their
Yeah.
road record is. I know I saw
Let's do some
something like
Googling. Knicks road
yeah, go
record.
ahead, go ahead, go ahead. I actually did not
Knicks road
I did
record.
not look at their away
You are
record.
23 and 18 on the road. The Celtics are 37 and 4 at home. So that's pretty good, I'd say. So you're pretty much the same. It's not obviously you win more games at home. I'd hope you win more games at home, but it's about even. They're not like road warriors or anything, but they play okay.
I mean, I'll tell you right now, if the Knicks lose 1 game at New York, they're done. If they lose just
Yeah,
1
yeah.
game at New York, they're done. Because I just don't see them winning 2 games at Boston. I don't
You
see
have
that
to
happening
go
at all.
right. You have to go home. I mean, all the home teams have to win. If the Celtics steal one on the road, I feel very confident about a 6-game series because
So
I'm very confident that the Celtics are going to win every home game in this series. Um, I'm going to go the Boston Celtics. Obviously, I think that there's you talk about depth. Celtics have that too, in quite a huge way. They
yeah.
have more depth in terms of stars. You know, obviously Kristaps Porzingis in a playoff series against the Knicks is going to be really funny when it
Oh,
happens.
yeah. I keep forgetting about that
Right.
whole stupid trade.
It's great. It's great. Shout out to KP. Shout
Yeah.
out to Tingus Pingus. Will he stay healthy by this point? That's my question. That's my only worry about the Celtics. Are these guys going to stay healthy at this point of the year? I hope that you want to end series quickly and all that. Obviously, you get that with the first round and probably the second round with Cleveland / Orlando. But you're going to have a battle here, and you're going to
I
get
w
to the NBA Finals against the rested Denver team.
I love this matchup. I
Don't
love
tell
this
me at
final
all. It's what I
this
wanted
fine
last year.
this is a great finals matchup. Denver and Boston.
Should have happened last year.
This is a great matchup.
Miami wanted to do some weird stuff. Go 3-0 on the Celtics. Celtics,
Yeah, honestly, this is a good storyline too. You
yeah,
get the matchup that you should have probably had last year.
yeah, should have been. It's what should have happened. I mean, come on.
Denver and Boston. Who you got?
Well, I mean,
Or actually, should
I'm
I
gonna
was about
pick
to
the
say?
ball. I'm a Celtics fan. I'm not gonna pick the Denver Nuggets.
I, I was just about to say, should I start just because
You
I'm the
you go, and
non-biased?
I will. You're probably gonna pick Denver, and I'll rebuttal whatever you got.
Denver and Boston. Okay, I'm going off the top of my head here. Okay, so we got Porzingis taking on Jokic.
Yeah,
Okay, I first of all, Jokic is the best player in this series. Let's just get that out of the way.
yep.
I think Jokic is the best player in this entire series. Honestly, the way I look at the difference makers is probably going to be Jamal Murray and Drew Holiday. I look at Drew Holiday, and not to mention that they extended him mid-season. That just shows me how much trust they have in this guy.
As it should.
He's someone who has a ring. He knows what it takes to win a ring. Porzingis, listen, I mean, there's not much you really have to do. I don't think really anyone's expecting you to stop Jokic, but as long as you can somewhat maintain him, I think Boston could win this series in 6 games.
You get Celtics.
I think the Boston Celtics can win this series in 6 games. Denver, on the other hand, if you get even a shred of what Jokic was last year, 'Cause I remember listen, I remember seeing this man against the Lakers just making shots overhead. I mean, like, some shots I've
Yeah.
never even seen him I've never seen any center do in my lifetime. If you're getting that Nikola Jokic, I don't see Boston overcoming them, especially from what we have coming off a 7-game series against the Knicks, and Denver came off a 5-game series,
Well, they
you
kind of
know,
they also have a 7-game series against Minnesota.
because Denver the thing is Denver's getting rest here is what I'm saying.
They are, yes, right before the bye.
Denver's getting significant rest here that Boston is not.
Yeah.
So
Would hurt Miami.
does that benefit the Nuggets? Does that benefit them? I don't know. Or what if the Celtics are like on a hot streak, right?
Yeah.
Does that give them the edge over Denver? I think regardless, this is gonna be a fantastic finals, but I will take Boston and you know what, 7. I
Well,
think
I
this is
like
gonna go
7.
7 here.
I think
I
this
think
would
it's
be an
gonna go to
all-time
7 here.
classic series because my other question is who would guard, you look at this team, it's deep, Denver. Who would guard Jason Tatum? Who would guard Jalen Brown, your 2 best players? They don't really have that ability to guard forwards as
MPJ, I
much, right?
guess.
He's got the length, but he can be exposed at times, and offensively, I think the Celtics just have too much there. Drew Holiday will do his thing against Jamal Murray. Real quick, I mean, how much does Al Horford have left in the tank? Because he's going to be on
Ugh.
Jokic as well.
I
He's
forgot he's
been
on the
good.
team, I'm gonna be real with you. I forgot he was on the team.
How can you not? No. Yeah, it's fairly easy to forget that. But it depends on that depth. Is Sam Hauser going to be able to shoot the lights out like he has? How's he going to be coming off the bench? Right? Where are the Celtics in terms of their depth? Are those guys going to show up? Is Jason Tatum going to be a playoff choker? I don't know. We know that Denver can
That
do it.
that's the narrative I think he's just gonna, like,
He's got to
overcome.
overcome it at some. I mean, again, this is around the age where you overcome that narrative.
Yeah.
You have these guys have so much. Jason Tatum and Jalen Brown have been through more playoff games than like anybody in the league together, through thick and thin, through tough losses, through great wins. It's impossible to imagine that in this year where they've won 64 games, you have home court in this series. How do you not win this finals? How do you not go on a run? I don't really care who they play. For Celtics fans, if you don't win this year, it's gonna sting more than it has in the past.
I was gonna say, if the Celtics lose this series, they don't
Yeah,
win the NBA finals after their insane record.
right.
This offseason, what's the first thing you wanna do?
That's the thing, is that I wouldn't want anything done
You
because
blowing
this
it up?
you can't blow it up. You just made the finals, you know?
Are you one of those people that, like, you wanna
Right.
blow it up? It's over.
No, it's not over because you have the stars and they're really entering their prime, in Tatum and Brown, right? They're kind of in the middle of it. And you just extended Drew Holiday. I like obviously Porzingis is there, great. You got to find a way to get some young talent. Jordan Walsh could develop pretty good for next year, but it just it's just one of those things. It's one of those situations, right? You look at Buffalo in the NFL. You look at all these other teams that are just built to win and not built to blow up at all, like just all in, but also in the sense that yeah, it's championship or bust, but we're going to be back next year. They're going to be back next year after
The
year.
Ravens.
Baltimore, right? At what point do they break through? Luckily, there's no Mahomes in the NBA. As far unless if you count Jokic as that, I don't yet, because age and love for horses. But the Celtics are just they had this is the team. If there's a team to do it, it's this one. They
Yeah.
they, they have finals experience. You have championship experience with Drew Holiday. You finally have a big man. This would hurt more than any playoff run, no matter where you lose. Because in the finals in 7 games, because you're sitting there going, are they really ever going to get it done? So Boston, you got to get it done for my sake, for Boston's sake, for any random Celtics fan's sake. It's got to happen. It's going to happen now.
Yeah.
So I'm rocking with
Boston
the
7.
Celtics. Boston 7. Boston 7. You got to do it. You got to get it done. Joel, we've got the
Man,
Celtics over the
are
Nuggets.
we the script writers here? I'm telling you
We
right now,
might
like, if
be.
they
It's going to happen. Your
this would
Knicks
be
get a 7
amazing.
game. Your Knicks are 1 game away from NBA Finals.
Yeah.
That'd be pretty awesome for you and New York. I think so. Okay, look at. I'll ask you the same question about your Knicks. Right, you lose in 7 games to the Boston Celtics according to our bracket. You're not blowing the team up.
No, because nobody not everybody's healthy.
Right, not everybody's healthy. So Right. Do you sit there going, "Oh, if we had Julius Randle, we would win this series," or do you go, "Wow, we just went all the way to the conference finals over a game away without Julius Randle. Let's trade him." What's his value at this point? I can't even tell you.
Honestly, like, I don't even know if I would trade Randall at this point. I really don't. Only because I would have traded the Randall that we were dependent on to be the number one option.
Right. His value was
That's
the
that
highest.
that's the guy I would have traded. But,
Yeah.
like, the way Randall is right now, it's like, you know what? Like, based off the games that we lost, it's like, man, if Randall was there, it would have I think it
Right.
would have been a much easier situation for us if,
Right.
he would have just done what we want him to do and not
Right.
what, the turnovers and the acting like a Beyblade, all that stuff. Like just
Beyblade. He's the spin move king, the anti Pascal Siakam. Not good at spin moves. But okay, right. You take that. So do you think the Knicks, if Julius Randle's healthy, do you think the Knicks make the finals?
I do.
I mean, you got
I
them a game
really
away. You got them a game
I
away.
I really do. I
Yeah.
really do. If Randall's in this series, I think they win.
If Randle
But
plays, I think you lose to Philadelphia.
I also look at really.
Yeah, I'm just not a Randle. I really just don't like Randle in terms of the chemistry of this basketball team.
I mean, I'll tell you right now, if the Knicks were to explore that option of trading Randall, I wouldn't be surprised. I
Yeah,
like Brunson a lot. I think Brunson is going to be the guy here for hopefully the remainder of his career.
right.
I
And
hope so.
and Randle takes the ball away from Brunson.
So yeah, that's why I look at this and I'm like, you know what? I like the role players that we've surrounded him
Yeah,
with. I think this is a good team, but I think Randall just adds so much to this team that they take for granted. That they take for granted.
I'm sure they do. But he also takes away a lot that kind of makes you mad as a Knicks fan as well.
No, I get it. I get it.
So it's tough. It's tough. We'll see. I mean, again, the Knicks are a team that can lose in the first round or make it all the way to the finals, and we have no idea.
About
It's
to say, watch
gonna
them
be a
lose
fun
to
year.
Philly. That'd be hilarious.
It'll be very
I
funny.
come back on here, just be like,
If
man,
yeah, if the Knicks win or if the
we
Knicks
gotta,
lose to Philly,
we
I'm
just,
just I'm buying the Easter Conference champion T-shirts ahead of time.
no, I'm just gonna say, like, dude, we just, we gotta stop making brackets.
No more brackets. No more brackets.
We gotta stop making bracket.
If you fade our bracket, to talk about gambling, if you fade it, you'll be up money, but just don't bet it if you're a current New York Knick, obviously. Mitchell Robinson, do not bet on the game. Miles McBride, do not bet on the game. But yeah, so we got our bracket. It's going to be wrong. I can't wait to see where it is wrong.
I can't wait either.
And I just hit submit on our NBA bracket, on our Pick'em bracket challenge on, I think it's like NBA.com.
Oh,
Yeah.
nice.
How many total points will be scored in game one of the NBA Finals? 213. I have to sign it with my NBA ID. I'll do that later. Yeah, Joel. So that's it. Break panel sports. Here we go. I don't know what's happening in the So I'm gonna get a live reaction out of the
Oh, go
Chicago
ahead. Yeah.
Miami game.
What's going on there right now?
The game's tomorrow.
It is
I lied to
tomorrow.
you all. It's tomorrow. It's not today. It's
Okay.
tomorrow.
I trusted you.
I trusted myself.
You know what's so funny? I could have sworn I saw somewhere today that it said Friday, but I'm like, oh, well, John would know. John just said it was today. So
I meant to say Friday. I
is
thought
the
today was
Pelicans game
Friday.
today?
No,
Or is there any game today?
none. Thursday's the
Oh,
day off because they need the day off to
so
so you
both
don't
games are
have it
tomorrow.
back so you don't have back to back. You
So
give the West team a day off, or you give the West team an extra day off. So it's gonna be weird. But
so okay.
yeah. Or however it works. I don't even remember. Or you give the 8 seed losers their day. I don't know.
I don't know.
The plan's confusing, just like the in-season tournament, but it's pretty fun.
It's
I'll be watching
entertaining,
that
yeah.
tomorrow. I'll be watching that tomorrow. If anything cool happens, you'll get our reactions. Joel, anything else to add before Friday and the NBA plan?
Uh Bet responsibly.
Always do that. And don't bet if you're a current NBA
Yeah, if
player.
you're an NBA player, I don't know why you're listening to us, but don't bet,
Yeah.
please. Or do. We
Or
can't control
employee.
you.
Well, maybe they're betting. Maybe the Oklahoma City Thunder are listening to us for motivation. How about
Maybe.
that? Maybe we'll see. Joel, thank you for joining me as always here on this episode of
Of
Break Panel
course.
Sports. Thank you all for listening, taking the time out of your day, night, evening, drive home, drive to work, wherever. One day I'll think of new places to shout out where you could listen to this podcast. Shout out to the Starbucks Cafe.
Yes.
Thank you so much for watching, listening, taking the time. As always, I've been John, joined alongside Joel. We will see you another time.
Later.